Activate defenses.
Activate defenses.
Commence countdown.
10 minutes and counting.
9 minutes and counting. 8 minutes and counting. 7 minutes and counting.
6 minutes and counting.
5 minutes and counting. 4 minutes and counting. 3 minutes and counting. 2 minutes and counting.
1 minute and counting.
40 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8.
Hello, David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome. This is the live stream of the Super Bowl co-watch. Yes, we're all going to watch the Super Bowl together. What is it? It's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. Who are you rooting for? Fill it up in the chat. We're not watching football. I don't even know what a football is. No, I know what a football is. But this is not about American football. And I did that for all you Europeans because we all know what football is. Yeah, soccer. That's what we call it. This is not what that's about. That's at 6:30 tonight. It's 1:30 here in the States. And we are going to be talking internationally. We're going to be talking about James Bond event, something that we can all come together on. But you know how we like to do it. We like to see who is in the room, the virtual room. First of all, Drew Smith rooting for the Chiefs. I hope you're not disappointed that we're not watching this together. Mr. Fletcher Sykes, gentleman himself, good evening. Good evening to you. We've got, always say yes to adventure. Yeah, you call it soccer, but you're from Spain. What do you guys know? Actually, a beautiful country. Loved it very much. Look at this. We got views from Mark. Good afternoon, evening all. And he's already drinking, even in emojis. That could be dangerous. And speaking of, oh, Malta. There we go. Hello, Maria. Very fetching dress you're wearing. Very nice. Speaking of drinking, this is a happy hour. Yeah, it is a happy hour. But I thought since we are talking about travel, we're talking about locations, I had to do something. Instead of having a beautiful, coiffed, frosty drink of some nature, I had to go themed. So, of course, I've got the airplane size drinks. These were donated very kindly by Up in the Air Phil himself, Phil Dewhurst, 007 GB, Mr. President. And yes, these will be drank. These are my happy hour drinks. But I don't like to drink alone. I just don't. I need to invite somebody. And when I say he's the man of the happy hour, he is literally the man of the happy hour. He's going to help describe what is this James Bond event that we all have the opportunity to become a part of. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please welcome to the show, Martijn Mulder. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
What are you drinking? You raised it up. Is that Coca-Cola? What is that?
It's Bacardi and Coke. Happy hour is Bacardi and Coke.
I like that. Now, what time is it where you are?
It's 7:30.
It's 7:30.
Bacardi and Coke time.
It is definitely Bacardi and Coke time. That's an appropriate drink. I'm going to open mine real quick. And how do we say cheers in your neck of the woods?
Oh, gezondheid.
Gesundheit.
Proost.
Oh, Prost. Well, cheers and up your Adam's apple. Cheers. Delicious. By the way, let me know in. Look at this. I see people we recognize. I see Mr. Yeah. Warren Ringham there. Lots of people. Oh, Charlie Spencer, go Browns. Still got people voting on people. We've got the Spillage Village. Shout out to all the East Coasters. We've got 007 GB. Look at that, British James Bond fan club. Good evening. Good evening to all of you. Good afternoon. Martijn, we have to explain what we're doing here today because I guess it would have been enough to put out a post saying, hey, there's an event. If you want to come, here's the link. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's lots of great events going on this year. Sometimes there are events that are multiple days, multiple experiences that they're best described by a chit chat. So we thought, let's put this video together, right?
Yeah, that was a great idea. I mean, a post could have worked, but it would have been different. And this is better because now we can actually explain what it's all about. So,
should we hop right into it? What do you think?
I think we should. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, through the magic of Steven Spielberg special effects, we're going to get sued by that. Let us change. Oh, beautiful!
There
Look
we
at the
are.
landscape. So, what have you started to concoct here?
Well, Palmyra, and as you can see, it's a James Bond event in the south of France, and it's 3 days. And it's actually 2 days, but you also have an arrival day, which is the first day, June 19, which does have some activities in the evening, but we'll get to that later. And it's a co-production actually between you, me, and the Club James Bond France. So it's a very nice setup, I think.
Now let's. I'm going to peel back the layers because what people don't realize is I'm sort of interviewing Martijn as well because, this could have been called many things. Why did you pick the name Palmyra? Because I did have a few people go, Palmyra, isn't that the Bahamas? And you were like, hold on.
It is, of course. There is a link to the Bahamas, but that's Thunderball, and there is also I always call it Palmyra. You say Palmyra, but that's.
I guarantee I'm mispronouncing it.
Well, I don't know, but anyway, it's also, of course, it is, of course, the house that belongs to Mr. Largo, and in Thunderball, it was in the Bahamas, but in Never Say Never Again, it definitely was in the south of France. At least it was filmed there.
That's right,
So,
and look how beautiful. Is that an actual shot of that area?
It is Villefranche-sur-Mer, and it's a beautiful region. And all the way to the right side of the picture, you see like an old fortress, and that the exterior for that was used as Palmyra.
Oh my gosh,
I
love it.
And that is like well, we're gonna explain that, but that will be like the home base of the event. So, hence the name Palmyra.
Now I've all right. So a little bit of confession for everybody too. I mean, when Martijn was telling me about this, it seemed like ages ago, and putting this together, collecting locations, and I just put out a video about this. Collecting Bond locations is like collecting collectibles, like trinkets that you put up, except you actually experience them. And I have never been to the south of France. Could you tell me a little bit? Because I mean, this is what we're looking at doing, and talk about being thrust into the Côte d'Azur.
Yeah, the south of France, the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera, it's also called. And what makes this so different from the rest of the Mediterranean? And I gave that some thought, and I wrote it a long time ago in my original On the Tracks of 007 book. It brings you back to an age of elegance. All these little towns they still breathe that 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s elegance that you miss from a lot of modern day towns that are like tourist spots. And these little towns, they still have a lot of that old elegance.
And I think that's a part of Bond.
So
I mean,
it
is.
It
intrinsically,
is.
I mean, living, and many of us do. I mean, I'm looking at some of the names on here. I mean, I'm looking at you, Mike Poplawski. By the way, I love how some people, they haven't even heard the details. They're like, can't wait to see you there. Look at Jamie. He's so funny. But I mean, the reality is that it's one thing to go to a location. It's another thing to immerse yourself into the world of James Bond. And when you describe these areas as that old world charm, I think Bond intrinsically tries to capture that in the movies, in the books. And what you try to do with these location experiences is to bring that to us.
Exactly, and it's so much fun to actually be at this place where a film was made, and like you just said moments ago, it's about collectibles, and you collect memories, you collect locations, and the moment you watch any Bond film and you see a location where you've been, it's like, oh my God, it becomes like a photo album almost of all the things you've done and all the places where you've been.
Well, this is getting exciting because I'm seeing people like they've been frothing, and who knows? I mean, Martijn and I never know this stuff when we're talking behind the scenes, but Mr. Analyze This is talking about this. I mean, for me, it is that photo album, but part of the photo album, the locations are sort of the set. It's the background, and then you get to be the players. I mean, you meaning all of you on this thread, Martijn, myself, and we get to rub elbows together in doing it.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes these places have completely changed. But who cares? I mean, it's still the place where they filmed that, and maybe a building looks different today. For me, that doesn't really matter. It's just the experience of being there, and the best thing is with these events, you're being there with a whole group of friends that all enjoy that same experience. So
And
it's
Martijn,
always a lot of fun.
Are we going to be actually going to each one of the places mentioned on here?
Yeah, this is the Côte d'Azur is actually it's a bit bigger because you all on the left of the image you also have Cannes, for instance, for the Cannes Film Festival, world famous. We're not going there, but this is like the area where the event focuses on Antibes, which has another fortress that also doubled as Palmyra. You can see it on the little image. It's like a star-shaped fortress. Nice is where you will arrive, and obviously on Nice, the airport, they filmed some scenes there. Villefranche-sur-Mer is our home base. Saint-Jean, Cap Ferrat, there was no room for an image, but that's where the Villa Efrussi, as it's called, which the interior doubled as Palmyra.
Huh.
And then you have Monaco, of course, where not only for Never Say Never Again, but also for GoldenEye, various things were filmed. And all the way to the right, you have Menton, which is almost Italy, actually. If you
Wow.
get in a car and you drive towards Menton and you forget to hit the brakes, you end up in Italy, which is just outside the image, I think. But Menton is also like Never Say Never Again, where all the car chase and motorcycle chase scenes were filmed.
Unbelievable.
So pretty cool. It's a very nice area. Absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our home base here. And by the way, I am so happy that you are pronouncing these things because I would be butchering this and creating international incidences. But this looks almost like it's been hand painted. It looks
does.
so beautiful.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, the stone thing just below the words Villefranche-sur-Mer, that is actually the Citadelle, and that's an old fortress. It nowadays it houses the town hall, city hall, but it's not a city, town hall, and a museum shop, and they have great areas there, indoors and outdoors. So they have an outdoor area there where we're going to get where we're going to have the gala evening. So that's amazing, and the little marina that you see where the photo sort of focuses on, that's where Domino comes ashore in the Never Say Never Again.
Oh my gosh. By the way, we have somebody in the chat room who is near and dear to these shores. Luke, welcome to the country of freedom, my fellers. And he's been instrumental, hasn't he, in sort of shaping this?
Absolutely. I mean, this is an event in the French club's backyard, as I used to say. So it's obvious that the French club is part of this, and so it's actually a co-production between me, you, and the French club. And obviously, it helps that they all speak French very well.
Yeah, they don't want me speaking French. I think I took 3.5 years in high school, which is such a long time ago. So un petit, like I know a very little bit.
I'm the same. But it's, I mean, that's also important for people to know that when we're going to do location tours, the French will help us guide the people. So it will be multilingual, French, English. So that's really important.
They're going to be our French versions of Rudolph. They're going to guide us through the starry nights. And I've got to tell you too, and again, I'm going to give more and more behind the scenes because I think this fascinates people. When you start to think about creating something like this, it's not just a matter of arrive and we're going to take you places. You've had to get in touch with the local government, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, well, the Citadelle, as I said, that's home base, and this is where the town hall is. So the obvious first like contact was the Citadelle, the people who run town actually. So we're in touch with them. They're helping us out on various things that would be difficult to arrange ourselves. I mean, they have the contacts. To give you an example, when you want to go inside a certain location, how on earth are you going to figure out who owns it and stuff like that? And they're very helpful with that. So
Yeah, it takes so much planning. And by the way, we keep referring to the Citadelle. So, I mean, we should take a moment, Martijn, in taking people back who maybe have not seen the film in a long time, but the Citadelle itself has some really auspicious moments in it.
Yeah, it's used in quite a few scenes, especially when Bond at some point is taken to Palmyra, and first they show like the interior, which is that Villa Efrussi, a bit further away, but everything outside that fortress, Largo's fortress, was a lot of it was filmed here. And as you can see from the photo, it's where Domino almost gets sold off to some Arab, and Bond rescues her. And the image, the top image, you see that slope with that very tiny window on top. This is that's where Bond's prison was, where Connery hung out of the window, or probably Vic Armstrong hung out of the window, outside the window, and so that was all filmed there.
And is it true that we're going to have pony rides off of the?
Yeah,
no, we're not doing that.
No, we're not. No, sorry. No.
That's how you. That's how you upset people.
Yeah,
it's
nobody
a
wants
bad idea. Oh my God. And that's when the YouTube cancels my account. But really, we've got to mention it because I think these type of immersive moments is sort of what these type of events and experiences are. And by the way, if I said it once, I'm going to say it a million times. There are so many great events this year that are about camaraderie, and they do sometimes incorporate the location. I think, Martijn, what you tend to do with yours is you're really immersing yourself in the location. So you're having all the camaraderie, you're having those Bond experiences, but you're also walking, here we go, patent pending, walking in the footsteps of 007, which makes it very different. In fact, we should talk about those footsteps because there's a lot.
There's a lot, and there's just a lot of locations, and it would not be possible to cover it all in one day. So a one-day event was not an option, or you would have to drop a lot of it. So that's why it's actually 2 days of location tours. That's the Thursday and the Friday. But we'll start with the Wednesday, which is going to be your day of arrival. That's the moment where you get to Villefranche, and you don't necessarily need to stay there. You can stay wherever you want, but on Wednesday you come to Villefranche, you go to the tourist office, and you get your, I don't know, goodie bag or whatever you call it, a bag full of items that
survival kit.
Event items, your itinerary, and so you know where you need to go at what time. And then you can do whatever you want. You can explore the town on your own, or you can go visit a bar with some friends. And then in the evening, well, that's a bit where you come in. We're going to have like the first European mainland GATHERALL.
It's a big deal. It's so funny too, because we were talking about this, and there are so many different Operation Operation Goldling, or Operation, Toonrake, or Operation. There's so many of them, which I actually love that the Bond community is doing Operation something, because it really does seem like missions that were all going on. GATHERALL's different. GATHERALL's almost like a mini convention. So at GATHERALL, we tend to have panels of interest. Sometimes we talk about style. Sometimes we have dignitaries or people show up and talk about Bond expertise. But really, GATHERALL is just that. It's a way for everybody to get together. We have not done it in Europe. Not a true GATHERALL. This is the very first one. It will be the only GATHERALL in 2024. This will be the only place to have GATHERALL in Europe. We will be having a United States one, but it's not convenient for people to fly across the pond. So it's very important we mention this, and I'll tell you why. This day, for example, has my wife very excited, and it ain't GATHERALL. It's because for those of you talking about bringing your spouses or your significant others, and these trips really are to be experienced with friends and family and significant others, this is a day to explore. You get there early, you can explore the area. It is not dictated by bond. It's beyond bond. And then in the evening, you can do many different things. Someone can enjoy their resort, or they can go to GATHERALL. I mean, there are choices in life, but
Yeah.
GATHERALL is where you're not being toured around. It's kick back, get yourself a drink, talk bond, but you're not
Exactly.
doing it like this. You're doing it in real life. So we're extremely excited, and they usually last a pretty long time.
You know, it's a fun way to get to know all the people that are on board and that are all part of that event. And usually you see so many familiar faces, and so it'll be a fun evening. Absolutely.
It will be fun. And by the way, we should make mention, it's so funny too. A lot of people are saying never say never again. They're glad that it is a bit of an underdog, but it's so nice that people have, like Quantum of Solace and other places, they're taking a moment to really celebrate it.
And I mean, you don't have to be an expert to say that it's not the best Bond film of all times, but it's definitely a Bond film, and especially these locations in the south of France, they are amazing. So it'll be good fun to hang out there together. To see
all right,
these
so
in real life.
so we take over our hangover cures, we sleep in a little bit, get a little something to eat in the morning to fill our gullets. What happens on Thursday?
Well, the sleep in you can forget. Because the bus waits for no one. That's our credo. Now, the bus, we're going to have bus tours. We're going to have buses waiting at the Citadel, and you're being toured around. And the groups are being split up. One group goes east, another group goes west. So you won't have too many people at the same location at the same time. And people will go to Antibes, to the Fort Carré, which is there, the location. People will go to the Villa Efrussi, while others go to Monaco and Menton. So people are going everywhere. And at the end of the day, around like 4:30, you all come back at the same time at the Citadel. So that's mainly your morning and afternoon covered. And then we have something special, because we have some special guests who are going to, pose for photos. We might have an autograph session. I think people will really appreciate that. And I think that's about it for that day.
I love it. And it's like you're saying, it's a very full day. I mean, it really is from beginning to end.
And because you just can't cover everything on one day, we're going to repeat that bus thing on Friday, the last day, and you'll see the places where you haven't been on Thursday. So 3 days you'll cover all the places. Again, bus tours with your friends to the locations with the French and English speaking guides, which is great. It's a great way to see these places. And then you come back around 4 o'clock and you get dressed in your tuxedo or your evening gown or whatever you want to wear. And then it's gala evening. That's like the spectacular ending. And that's a lot of fun, because maybe you can see it in that little image down there. The outdoor area of the Citadel, they do outdoor cinema there. So it's a beautiful place next to the water, and you're like next to the castle. They have a big stage, big screen, and we're going to have dinner there together with our VIP guests, with the mayor of Villefranche is going to be there, maybe some other people and we're going to enjoy dinner. We're going to do on-stage Q&As. We're going to have some videos, of course. There'll be an auction, some very special items that we have in store for you. And then we're going to end with an outdoor screening of Never Say Never Again. And that's going to be amazing, at that location where part of that was filmed. You're going to watch that film together.
That's amazing. And that's kind of the crescendo. I mean, there's always, you've done this at your other ones. And for those of you in the chat room, and I include myself as part of that, who have been on Martijn's tours and events, there is sort of this centerpiece, and I see this gala dinner as really the centerpiece. And you're talking it's not an intimate dinner. It's not 15 to 20 people.
Well, it depends, of course, how many people will sign up. It could be intimate.
Just one round table of 10 just sitting there.
That'll be fun too. I mean, if you're part of that group, you're gonna have a unique experience.
That's true. But this could be sizable. I mean, this could be a lot of Bond friends and fans all over the world coming together to really celebrate, and not just the movie. And, you know, I see some people saying, I can't get through Never Say Never Again. It's not just the movie. This is about really celebrating each other, celebrating Bond fandom.
We're celebrating all the connections between James Bond and the south of France, and there are many. I mean, just think about GoldenEye. I mentioned it before, which is a great connection. But even the Persuaders, you know, had something filmed there. There's a lot of connections between the James Bond franchise and the south of France.
Yeah. Now, Martijn, you've been doing something for the better part of 26 minutes. You keep saying special guests, special guests.
And we have a very special guest.
All right. Who is it?
Well, maybe you can show her. Ouch. Ooh. Oh, my God. Barbara Carrera. She has never, ever done a James Bond event before. And she is going to be our very special guest. So imagine, you know, being in the south of France with Barbara Carrera, posing at these locations every now and then, doing the Q&As on stage. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a first for her and a first for every Bond fan. So
that's amazing. Now, will she will be part of the gala? Will she be part of the entire experience?
She's not going to be with us on the bus, obviously, but she's definitely going to be at the photo shoots. We're going to do an autograph session with her, and she's going to be part of the gala evening with the Q&As on stage. So that is going to be absolutely amazing. And the funny thing about Barbara Carrera is that we've interviewed her. We have a book coming up, Bond in France. Simon Firth has written that book. We're going to launch it during the event as well. But Simon interviewed her, and Barbara talked so lovely about the south of France. She had such an amazing time there. And she was quite young when she fell in love for the first time, and her first husband took her to the south of France. And so she was completely, immersed herself into that beauty of the south of France. And she spent a lot of time there, so she was very happy that she could come back for the filming. And now she's even more happy that she's coming back for this event, because she can't remember the last time she's been to France.
I have so many questions for her. So many questions.
Yeah.
And by the way, people may have seen that there is a link to a website for tickets. There's also a link in the comment section, description section rather, of my YouTube channel right now. And people are saying, what's the password to the website?
Ooh,
that's what they're asking. So have the tickets gone live yet, or?
No, we're still 2 minutes away.
Everybody needs to calm down. It's coming. Martijn's got a plan. He's drinking his Bacardi. You know, let him have his due course.
I'm having my eye on the clock.
He's got his eye on the clock. Look at this. We got congratulations of author to author. Pete Brooker saying, "Go Simon, go Simon." And yeah, tell me a little bit about this, because you know, Barbara is actually going to have company and a very action-oriented partner in this.
Absolutely. And that is someone that even I had to look up at first, to be completely honest. Michael Runyard. And Michael Runyard is a stuntman. And Michael performed all the motorcycle stunts for Never Say Never Again. But he has done so much more. When you look at his resume, it's huge. Any action movie in the 80s and 90s that involved some sort of motorcycle, he was in it, and he's even he's Michael Douglas's double.
Oh,
So he
wow.
when you look him up on the International Movie Database, you'll be surprised of all the things he's done. So, he did the motorcycle chase. Barbara obviously didn't do her own driving, but she did some of the driving because she keeps on saying that she wrecked quite a few gearboxes. But so she must have done some driving. But having the two of them together at these locations, I think should be spectacular. And I don't want to spoil any fun, but I have opened the ticket sales. It's 8:00.
Okay.
So ticket
So
sales is open. So we're now losing our complete audience.
if you want to get the tickets right now, or you could wait 30 minutes and do it, there'll be tickets available. Now, I say that. And of course, one of the things that we've talked about is this, and here you get a much better picture, happily, of the
Exactly.
wonderful space that Martijn was talking about. This is limited, and it's not, we're not trying to drum up, we're going to sell out in 1 hour.
There's only so many people you can fit in any space.
There is a limit to this. So if it's one of these things, and I always say this kind of fear of missing out. I mean, obviously, if you can get there and you can do this, please do. But it's not something I would say, well, I'll think about it over the next few weeks or the next 3 weeks. There will be a cap to this. And at some point, Martijn's going to have to say, we're filled up. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's only so many people you can fit into a space like this.
Yeah, and there are the tickets link is in my description. But is it fair to say, Martijn, that it's in a lot of your posts as well as your website?
I think it's all over the place. Actually, it would be hard to miss.
We've got a post on it too. The quick question for you, Martijn: the gala evening. I know people always ask me about this. Do you come in a suit? Do you come in a pair of jeans? There isn't.
You can even wear your 9 Inch Nails T-shirt. If
you can wear. By the way, that's not an inside joke. That is a real thing. Where this guy, I saw it, was so busy that he actually wore a 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, and if you remember, Phil was working the autographs, and he was wearing an Oliver Brown sweatshirt.
Right.
For at least a part of it.
Yeah. Well, no, you usually, for a thing like this, you should really dress up. That'll be fun. But it's not, you don't have to. Not everybody owns a suit, although, of course, you can rent them. But just dress nicely and, dress something that makes you feel comfortable, I always say.
Yeah, it goes into the night. I mean, comfort is really paramount. Just to let everybody know, because this is my channel, I get it. I will probably be wearing my Anthony Sinclair Dr. No dinner suit that I just had through kind of the final alterations. And from a watch standpoint, poor Martijn has to go through this. I probably will be wearing the blue-faced Aquaterra. It's a little bit smaller, so it goes with tuxedos. Someone just also asked for a watch check. So I'll be wearing this, which has been getting a lot of love in Spain. But, I do bring that up because all the days of the event, I mean, these are moments for you to really dress to impress, to bring out your James Bond clothing and your kit. That many of the days of the year you've been like, I have no idea where I'm going to be wearing that toweling onesie or that linen shirt with the Octopussy symbol on it. These are those moments. I mean, GATHERALL is a perfect moment to fly your geek flag high and not be ashamed to be a Bond fan. Isn't that true?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, we've got a couple picks already. So yeah, let's kind of play this game while I go to the next slide, because I'd love to know if you can make it. What are you going to be wearing? I think someone's going to be wearing a white dinner jacket, which is very appropriate. It's the summertime. Absolutely. What do you think the temperature is going to be in that part of France in June?
It's probably going to be like in degrees Celsius. It'll be like somewhere between 25 and 30, I suppose.
Wow. By the way, we've got our first, I'm getting a flurry of action. People have already started to order their tickets. By the way, 2 tickets ordered for my better half and I. I will say this, there are events, darling, and there are events. This may be the latter, in the sense that if you do have a better half and you walk to them and say, I want to take you to a Bond event, you will get the arched eyebrow. If you finish that with, I'm taking you to a Bond event in the south of France, you may get a different reaction, which is,
absolutely,
we're going.
Yeah, and I always say that, that's the fun thing about Bond locations. And as you know, I've been doing this Bond location stuff since 1995 or something, and I never had any trouble, bringing people to these locations, like your better half, your girlfriend, your wife, because they're always such great locations. When you say to somebody, shall I take you to Monaco, or shall I take you to the Bahamas? That sounds so much better than, shall I take you to that sleazy alley that was in The Hangover 2? And that's what Bond locations do. They're always the nicest towns, the best hotels, the best restaurants. So yeah,
they transport you.
Bring your wife or girlfriend.
Talk to me about this right here. I mean, we get a really great overhead shot, but this is a lot of support that's being created for this.
Absolutely, and I'm so happy with that. That it's an event that's being embraced by all the clubs. I mean, obviously, it's hosted by me, by you, the Club James Bond France, as we're in their backyard. And they for a long time they have been wanting to do something with Barbara Carrera. So for them, I'm very happy that finally this is all going to take place. And in cooperation with the Citadelle Villefranche, obviously they've been of a huge help. But that support, by the British James Bond Club, the German James Bond Club, the Swiss James Bond Club, and from Sweden with love, which I always say, the Swedish James Bond Club. Our friend Anders, who is of course also instrumental in getting Barbara Carrera here. So yeah, it's great that it's being embraced by so many organizations. So that's good.
Yeah, it's a great way to pull the fan community together. And by the way, like we said before, tickets are now available. This is a really great link to remember. You can kind of jot this down on the tracks of 007.com/Palmyra. I'm trying to pronounce it like you, Palmyra. Palmyra. But the links are going to be everywhere. Again, this is one of these things. So, Martijn, if people have further questions, what's the best way for them to sort of claw at this a little bit?
Well, I mean, we can take some questions here. Might be an idea. So we can talk through some things. One of the things that one of the most asked questions is where should we stay? Because these are just tickets for an event, and it's not. There's no hotel included. So where do you need to stay for this event? And I always say, we're the main. You can stay wherever you want. And Villefranche-sur-Mer, as the town is called, that's our home base. That's where most of the things take place. So it'll be good to at least be in that area. Unless you get, if you have a rental car or whatever, you can be anywhere, and you can just pick a hotel, that fits your budget. And just around the corner is the very nice town of Nice.
Oh, yes.
And they have so many hotels in every price category. And I see here a recommendation for the Royal Riviera Hotel, which is a great hotel, but it's 5 stars and it comes at a price.
Sure.
But, if you have that, if that's your budget, yeah, stay there. You're gonna have a great experience. But I also know that when you go to Airbnb or Booking.com, you have a lot of guest houses or like apartments that you can rent. So there's quite a lot of options. The town just doesn't have a lot of large hotels so we don't have one particular hotel where everything is taking place.
And by the way, this is absolutely hysterical. There's a question: will people actually get to meet the legendary Simon Firth? I've heard he's a very good author. I don't know where they've heard that rumor.
No, and from the looks of it, I kind of know where this question comes from, but no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Simon is so much part of this event. He co-hosts it, and we're going to do a little Q&A with him too, because he is he did write that book that is not out yet, but it's going to be published, Bond in France, and it's all about not even the south of France, but it focuses on all of France. So
Right.
the Paris area, even a lot of book locations that play in France, Corsica. One of his topics is where is Royal les Eaux, the fictional town. So there's a lot of great stuff in that book, and Simon will be absolutely there. So you'll meet him, yes. 007 GB.
Whether you want to or not, you'll meet him.
Yeah, you'll meet him. Absolutely.
He will infect you in the most positive way.
Yeah.
One of the things I should mention as a part of sort of the frequently asked questions is, number one, a few people were asking, for example, where do you stay? Where can you stay? I do know several groups of friends that are getting together to do exactly what Martijn said, do a sort of a, rent a place that has a few rooms and make it sort of a bit of a party, put an extra day in front of it or a couple extra days in back of it. And then don't just make it a 3-day event, especially if you're coming from the States. Feel free to hop around. One of the things that Danielle, who's really good at organizing these types of things, is from Nice, you could go to so many places. You could go to Italy. You can go take, little local hoppers to different places. So, think of this event as almost like the centerpiece in something that could be a very interesting European vacation. Don't just think of it as kind of a moment in time, if you will.
No, exactly. And like I said, when you go to Menton, which is like an hour by car, and you don't hit the brakes, you'll be in Italy. And not that it changes a lot, but they speak a different language. Yeah,
they do. What part of Italy is that? Right across next to the border?
It's the Italian Riviera.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
it's just different palm trees. Like their palm trees have
olives. Yeah, and they serve different food in the restaurants.
And charge different prices too. Well, I tell you what, let's do this then. If you have any questions, feel free to serve them up. Martijn, I want to really let you kind of have sort of the last word here, but as much as you are getting support on all this, these things don't happen. They're not conjured up without somebody dreaming it. What would you tell people that are considering this event why they should come?
Because, apart from the Bond connections, it's just a great destination. France has a lot of different things to offer, but the south of France is something special. You have that Mediterranean atmosphere, great food, lovely people, beautiful sceneries. All these towns are built on mountain sides. So it's just a wonderful area. So without the Bond connection, it's very well worth going there. And now, even with the Bond connection and with this event, it only makes it better. And they can meet you, they can meet Simon, they can avoid me, and it's
they'll
just
never
great.
avoid you. Stop it! You're part of the star celebrity show. You kidding? I will say this too, and it's just compartmentalizing exactly what you said a little differently. I find you come for the Bond event and you stay for the culture, the food, and most of all, the camaraderie. The fact that you're not doing this on your own.
Yeah.
You're doing this with friends, or better, you make friends that will last a lifetime. I know many people in this thread that they keep coming back to this because this is where their friends go on vacation and they want to do vacation with friends. And this is going to happen to all of you, no doubt.
Oh, and by the way, I just see that little remark from Luc. You're also going to meet the greatest president of all time, Luc Leclerc.
That's
in real life, and who doesn't want that? So
that's some smack talk, because there may be some other presidents that think they're the best president.
Oh,
Wait, can we have a panel of presidents
we should.
where I can interview the Swiss, the German, the French, and obviously the British, get them up on a panel, maybe at GATHERALL. This would be perfect. I could interview them all, and yeah,
that's an option. Absolutely. Yeah.
This would be great.
I'll write it down.
Yeah, write it down. I see you air writing. Yeah, that was not ink, ladies and gentlemen. That was pantomime, is what that was. Well, listen, Martijn, thank you so much for describing this. I'm sure there's going to be more details and more information. Ticket information is below, and ticket information is obviously on the site. Again, I'm going to show this one more time so people can write it down. It's very, very simple. On the tracks of 007.com.
And I noticed one other question. Is there going to be a Facebook group, like a Facebook page where people can discuss this event? And yes, I will make a event page for this, so people can go there to discuss, find friends. We'll do that. That's perfect.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for joining in this happy hour. Really looking forward to seeing everybody join in the south of France, where we're going to party like there's no tomorrow, and looking forward to it. Martijn, thank you so much for everything.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. And looking forward to seeing everyone in the south of France. Hopefully.
See you there, everybody. Cheers. Bye.